Boy. So we got to continue our coverage of the chaos and drama that is happening in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay, we have a new liberal that has won a Darn Award here, Mr. Alex Pretti, who was resisting arrest after trying to confront Border Patrol agents who were doing their jobs, right? He decided to show up as a legal observer, aka an agent of chaos, was told to move back, did not do so immediately, and ended up getting a confrontation with Border Patrol in which he ended up losing his life because he was shot and killed due to the fact that he was armed and resisting while armed. Now, there's a lot of speculation about whether or not he was disarmed before the Border Patrol agent shot him. And we now have clear video evidence showing exactly what happened. And I personally believe that this evidence I'm about to show you guys basically closes the door on anybody claiming that this was not justified, right? I think that from a legal perspective, this is 100% justified. And this video right here, this angle right here, I think is the clearest angle. And I'm going to explain to you guys exactly why. So without further ado, let's go ahead and play this clip. Now, keep in mind, all this is happening in seconds. This is now slowed down in slow motion. In the courts, you're not supposed to analyze it this way, right? But I'm going to analyze it and just tell you guys, in your mind, keep in mind that this is something that happened in split seconds, right? Okay, so watch this. As you can see, they're tussling with the guy. He's resisting. This guy right here apparently is also Border Patrol, right? He's a federal officer. The gun is right here, right? His holster's right here, and this officer is basically reaching for the gun to try to disarm him, okay? At the exact same time that this officer is reaching to try to disarm this guy, this other officer sees the gun, sees the weapon, okay? And he reaches for his weapon, right? So the gun has been identified. At the same time, there's a struggle for the weapon, right? Okay? As this guy is resisting arrest, you can clearly see it. Watch this. This officer right here pulls out the weapon while at the same time, simultaneously, this officer is gearing up to fire because at that point he's resisting. They've identified a weapon. He's not fully under control. This is potentially a dangerous threat. And I'm just giving you the perspective from a legal perspective and a law enforcement perspective. At the end of the day, you can morally agree or disagree with it. That's not what this is about. And too many people spend too much time making moral arguments that are irrelevant to the law, right? I'm giving you a legal breakdown of why this is justified, okay? So this guy is pulling away the weapon. At the same time, this agent fires. He fires the weapon. This dude is actively now getting up, trying to get up. Now, keep in mind, they've identified a weapon. In a split second, although it appears as if this guy was disarmed, you have to take a step back and understand from the perspective of a law enforcement officer in that split second situation. They've identified a gun. This guy's actively resisting. He's getting up. It looks as if he is reaching at the same spot that his holster was. Look at him. Look at his posture. Okay? Look at his posture at that moment, right? At this moment, what does a reasonable officer believe about the potential for this guy to use deadly force? They don't know if he has another gun on him or not. They don't know if the gun is even still there, if he's even still armed, right? And I'm going to prove to you guys that they didn't know whether or not he was still armed here in a minute, okay? I'm going to prove to you that they did not know. So we're watching it in slow motion, but keep in mind, this is all in split seconds, right? Take your emotions out of it and analyze it from a legal perspective. He's getting up. His posture is if he's reaching for his holster, right? Maybe he felt the gun was taken. Maybe that's why he was reaching for it. I don't know. But agents don't know either. They don't know. That's the whole point. And they don't have to take the risk of potentially being shot or him getting access to his weapon because they don't know if he's still armed or not. They have no clue. But they have identified that at some point during this exchange, he was armed. He's an armed individual. So for all they know, maybe he has another weapon. Maybe he's still armed. They don't know. But they do know that at one point he was armed. right? That he had a gun. A gun was identified. And because he kept resisting, then, again, legally speaking, an officer can reasonably believe, hey, this guy is still a deadly threat, right? He can still use deadly force. And at that point, deadly force is justified. Now, here's the back angle of this interaction. This is from the back. As you can see, look at that hand right there. That's what a holster was, right? So, again, from the perspective of law enforcement, and again, I'm about to show you in a minute, they don't know if the gun is still there, even though it appears as if he was disarmed. And then he reaches back at the same place that the firearm was identified, okay? So I just want people to understand that. It looks as if he's reaching back. Check out this angle. Watch this. Boom. You see this? This guy took the gun. He took the gun, but they didn't know that he was unarmed, right? Or that he was disarmed. They didn't know. Keep that in mind. You got to understand, what was the perspective of the officers at the time? That's how you have to analyze it. The gun had been identified, but they didn't know that the gun had been disarmed. They didn't know. And I'm about to prove to you guys that they in fact did not know. Okay, the next video I'm about to show you guys is what they said after the suspect had been shot. Okay, as he's on the sidewalk, he shot, is over. Listen to what they say. Listen to this. Where's the gun? Where's the gun? So, in the court of law, right, this video is basically going to justify this shoot. I'm telling you that right now. Again, people can be upset about it. They can be mad about it. But it's going to justify the shoot because the officers clearly did not know that he had been disarmed, right? Though, where's the gun actually strengthens the idea that the officers did not know that he was disarmed. For all they knew, he was still armed because a gun had been identified at the time, right? So from their perspective, he's still a potentially deadly threat, okay? From their perspective, not from the perspective of us watching in hindsight, okay? Not from our perspective, but from the perspective of those who were there at the time. In that split second, gun. At the same time, dude is disarming him, right? And the shots ring out a split second later. It all happened at the same time. They clearly think that, hey, he's still a deadly threat. And what matters in court is their perception. Did they have a reasonable belief that he was still a deadly threat? The answer to that question is yes. Why? Because they identified the gun. They didn't know that he was disarmed. Again, split second. He tried to get up. He was still resisting. He reached back. Boom. That's when they kept shooting him. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I mean, I'm telling you, they can investigate it all they want, right? But I'm telling you, the officer who shot this guy is going to get off. It's going to be justified legally. 100%. 100%. 100%. I mean, clearly on video, they didn't know that he was disarmed.